Hi, Fiends. Thanks for joining me on DonnaJean's Coffee House of Horror. Hey, have you seen Driven? Well, you're going to really love this interview that I did with the crew that brought it to life. You know, the film has everything. It has horror, it has comedy, it has turd spoons, it has demons, for lack of a better word, and it has Richard Speight Jr. Greetings, Fiends. Welcome to DonnaJean's Coffee House of Horror. And I am here with the good folks that brought Driven to life. Glenn Payne, the director.
Hello.
Casey Dillard, the writer, producer, and actor extraordinaire. And Mr. Richard Speight Jr., who is Richard Speight Jr.
Hey.
So how well are you guys all doing in this very strange time in life with the pandemic and the quarantines and things kind of getting back, but not?
I don't know how to answer that anymore. I'm whatever passes for fine right now. That's sort of where I am with it.
How closed down is Tupelo?
Not as much as it should be, to be honest.
Right.
We
They're a little more concerned than other places, you could say. Right?
Oh yeah, a lot more
Sure.
shut down than other places in Mississippi, especially. But I mean, we
Right.
we kind of shut everything down for about 2 weeks, and then people were like, "It's fine. It went back to normal." It was like it really didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, say, Kate, to talk about the awesome and the amazing movie, Driven. Now, this actually came out on DVD on the 16th. And I will attempt to not throw out too many spoilers for people that haven't seen it yet. But in this odd time of the pandemic, did you find that it was more difficult to let people know about it coming out? Because I had mentioned earlier that I actually didn't hear about it right off the bat. And then when I saw it, I was like, I love this movie. How did I not hear about this? So I guess it's just a part of that different time.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in mid-June. There's still a lot going on in the US, at least, which is where we are released at present. And for various reasons, like I felt weird even promoting it in a lot of ways. Like normally I would be bombarding people with the information, but at the time, and again still, there was sort of much more important things that I felt like I needed to talk about and comment on. So yes, less because of the pandemic and more because of other things happening. But yeah, like at first, I think Glenn and I were, I mean, obviously we weren't excited about the pandemic, but we were like, you know, people are going to be at home. They need something to watch. They're looking for entertainment. This is going to be really good for us. And then other things started happening. And I think we were both like, not to center it on us, obviously, way bigger problems that need addressing, but we were both kind of like, I don't know if in the middle of all of this, like people fighting for their civil rights and literally their lives, we need to be like, and don't forget, June 16th, Driven comes to DVD and digital streaming services.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a ride. Now, fortunately, we had a lot of people, largely that got on board because they were fans of Richard and his work, but that were eagerly waiting for Driven to come out on their own.
Which is also weird because your movie only comes out that one time in that 1 month on that one day.
Right.
Yeah.
So you also can't miss the boat because, you know, like there's movies have a shelf life, so to speak, of how long they're considered new. So yeah, it was pretty strange
people who want to see Driven, who haven't seen it yet, I've been posting around on it saying, hey, you can see it on Amazon. But what are the other mediums that people might be able to find this on?
So like Casey mentioned, it's available in the United States, most video on demand platforms. So like you said, Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, Dish Network, stuff like that. And then DVD, it's on that through Amazon, where we have lots of fun extras. And then other than that, as the movie is out longer, there will be more ways you can watch it that they'll roll out, you know, in sort of phases. But yeah, right now those are the big ones. And on our social media, especially Facebook, we have them all listed with links so that everybody can get to them really easily if they want that. So
now I actually saw it on Amazon. I rented it, and then I liked it so much, so I bought it. So are the extras? They're not on the one that you rent on Amazon, are they?
Just the DVD. Just the.
Well,
physical.
then I'm glad I bought it because I can see all of the.
Yeah,
well,
we like
indie
extras.
film, so you probably didn't have a whole lot of extra people running around taking extras, right?
No, not a ton.
No, but we have a decent amount. There's like deleted scenes and a commentary we all did, and interview with the two of them, and so there's a decent amount of stuff. Some stuff that was supposed to be on there that they didn't put. Working on that, fun stuff. Yeah,
kind of like those the edited out scenes.
Yeah, some deleted scenes in there. Yeah.
Well, for the people who haven't seen it yet, Casey, would you mind? You probably would be the one to give us a little bit of a synopsis of what
Sure. It's about a rideshare driver with a few relationship hang-ups and a massive fear of failure, picking up a mysterious and somewhat prickly passenger one night, and they end up on undertaking a big adventure together, trying to break a multi-generational curse that his family is involved in. It's a thriller comedy. I think it's pretty funny. Some people agree, and I hope you will too.
I do.
So that's my pitch.
It's a good pitch.
Also, I need to pay my bills, so you should all watch that movie and help me out with that.
Because someday there will be money. That's
Yes.
what I
So
hear.
rent it and buy it.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
leave us a review, especially if you get it through Amazon. Let us know. Let us know what you thought, specifically if you loved it.
You know, watching it, it was so good, and there was such chemistry between you two, between Roger and Emerson. So have you guys known each other for a long time, or was that your acting? Or I mean, it really seems like you all really connected.
You guys went to high school together, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I was the teacher and she was 4. We Casey and I would, I think that largely came out of good writing and us doing our best with the material. I mean, we knew each other. The three of us knew each other. They obviously have a very long-standing friendship and partnership professionally. I met that duo at a film festival in 2013 or 2014, and then the following year I was back at that same festival, and so I'd seen their work and we hung out, a little bit of that festival. But I don't think we'd seen each other since then. And then when they had the script, they sent it my way and to see if I would be interested in doing it. And it's just such a well-written piece, and they're easy to get along with. And so when I got down to Mississippi to make the movie, I knew they were going to be easy to get along with, because even though we hadn't hung out a ton, we'd hung out enough at those parties and those events where you get a sense of people's personality in those situations. And I didn't anticipate anything other than what it was, which was, fun, intelligent, driven, focused, but also relaxed and fun people.
And the fact that it was fun and relaxed, especially since it takes place 99.9% of it in a car, was there any difficulty that occurred, either technical or whatever? Because not being a filmmaker myself, I'm kind of picturing you trying to film all of this in a very small space.
For the most part, what you're picturing is correct. So we did not have a car set. It was just a vehicle that we were in. It was definitely a small space, but I don't think it presented as much of an issue as I was kind of anticipating. And some of that comes down to how much Glenn had planned out, like the way certain scenes were going to be shot and everything. So, like, I don't think the car itself provided that much of an obstacle. But Glenn, you were the one kind of setting all that up. So,
did you guys have any trouble as far as memorizing lines? And you probably, maybe you didn't at all, but you know, like usually you can be like, oh, this is the scene in the kitchen, and then this is the scene in the bank, and whatever. And so you can kind of break them apart mentally that way. So in this one, I just thought about this. You know, every scene's like, oh, that's the one where we're in the car. Did that hamper you guys at all? Just running lines?
no, because you still break them down. It's still, oh, well, this is the scene where Roger talks about his family. This is the scene where we see the entities for the first time. So it's just you break it down by what's happening instead of location.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Makes sense.
The way it was filmed too, you know, it's funny, and maybe I'm weird this way, but when Roger first gets in the car and you don't see him really, you see him kind of from the mouth down. And when he speaks, all you're seeing is the mouth. And to me, that always comes off as being very insidious, like if they have something to hide. And so at first I'm thinking, oh, I get it. This is the bad guy. He has something to hide. You know, so it was so much of a fun surprise. Spoiler free. It was such a fun surprise, the direction that it went, you know, and I think that the way that was filmed was just perfect.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we wanted to keep him hidden for a little bit to kind of build that character, and even that shot where he comes to the back of the car, which bookends in the film at the end. Which actually was a stand-in for Rich. I was Coley because it was 4 degrees, I think, whenever we were going to film that your last night. Yeah, it was very cold. That was our biggest problem, which everyone's heard probably if they've heard any of the other interviews we've done.
Yeah.
I think that was Richard's last night. It was literally the wind chill, wasn't it, like 3 degrees or something?
It was really freaking cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and plus the airport was closed.
We were going to do it just out front of the building we were at, our studio, in quotes.
Right.
I just think there's a lot of people out there who think of the South as being a sweltering part of the country, and
right
I'm
now
here to
it
say,
is.
yeah. And then it's earned that reputation seasonally appropriately. However, it was a freaking cold winter.
Yeah, it was the coldest snap I can still recall. For
2 of our coldest winters have been when Richard Speight Jr. came to Mississippi.
There you go.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just pointing out the correlation.
Right, sure. I mean, facts are facts.
That was the other Oxford Fest where it was snowing? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I was just having watched it 3 times in the last 2 weeks. The last time I watched it, I was taking note of the weather, and I was kind of wondering, was it because it was a night scene or is there snow on the ground? So I guess there was snow on the ground.
Oh, wow. It's possible. There's definitely a scene where they go, man, I forget exactly.
The gas
Maybe they
station.
go back to the apartment. Maybe. I don't think Rich was there. We had, Laura had to literally like remove snow,
Oh, yeah. The scene with Jess.
Yeah. There was snow up on the steps to the apartment. And hey, can you get rid of that for me? Thanks.
Wow.
But yeah, there's probably some more snow in there somewhere. I wouldn't doubt it.
Laura, fix the weather.
Do you have, having filmed all of this together, yes, each of you, maybe we can start with you, Glenn. Do you have a favorite scene of the whole thing from your perspective?
I love the scene where the 2 of them, I've mentioned it before, but they things get a little intense. I'll just say that, I guess. And they both do an excellent job. And that's one of the scenes where when I watch it or see it, that's probably the biggest time in the film where I kind of can forget that it's a movie we made and it's just these two people, because it's so sincere. And it's like mainly lives into sort of close-ups, so you're not even worried about the other elements, and it's just the two of them. And that's the one that when I watch it a lot, I can kind of forget all the little pieces that make up a movie, because it's really hard to not see those when you're the people that put it together. So maybe that one. For right now, I'll go with that one.
Casey?
I think probably like the scene where well, hold on. Let me think if I'm getting into spoiler territory here.
You gotta.
Careful.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to change my answer and say the scene with Grace, the roommate, when she's bringing out the stuff and Roger is trying to play it cool and doing very poorly. That one was a lot of fun to write, and it was kind of a relief to film because I knew that they were both really good. So even though I was feeling pretty bad that night, I was like, the scene will be fine because they're both great. And they're doing the heavy lifting comedy-wise, so.
For me, it's the scene where we're sitting in the back of the car, it's a very brief scene, but it's Roger trying to instruct Emerson on how to deal with the entities. And it's, like I said, brief, but it's just a cool shot and a cool moment between the characters, you know, kind of crossing from, you know, being nemesis to strangers who are kind of getting along to being allies. And it's just like sort of the ally moment. And I just think it's a short and sweet, but does its job really well.
There were so many moments of kind of like character development. And I think one of the things I loved about this film was you saw how you two both not you two, but your characters, Roger and Emerson, personally grew and changed from knowing each other. And that you did become allies. And that was just so wonderful. You know, the world needs more of that. Everybody do that. But it really was great to see.
Yeah,
cool.
They grew a lot.
So if you were going to go into the world of a sequel, everybody probably asks you about that. Rich, where would you like to see that going if that were to happen?
Oh, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask because I feel like Casey, being the creator of the characters, has, you know, a stronger vote in that election. I will say that I like the way it ended. Like, I think I'm not even saying teeing it up for a sequel as much as I just think the characters were given really good journeys and really good arcs, and and the movie stayed true to those characters the whole way through. So we didn't feel like we got a soft ending just because it would be neat if they hooked up or something along those lines. I think the way the characters left the movie was as interesting as how they arrived into it. And and in that regard, I do think you could take those characters and continue on a story, whatever that story may be.
Well, I actually was going to move from you on to Casey because I would like to see what happens with her comedy career.
Thank you. So if I just made a straightforward like dramedy about someone trying to climb into the stand-up comedy scene, would you be into that? All right, perfect.
I'd be there.
No, I think I've said a lot of times, and I stopped my video there as a little joke for myself earlier. I don't really want to do or see a sequel. I've enjoyed like the fan fictions that people have sent me. I like seeing where other people enjoy taking the characters, but it's like Richard was saying, I think that they ended up in a good place without giving too much away. That being said, if we did a driven to, it would be on like a really nice ocean liner.
Yeah, because I'm already
Somewhere where we have lots of room to stretch out, and somewhere where the weather's really nice. So.
And we meet Glenn's character on a nude beach.
I was actually thinking, I was like, okay, how can what's my character?
How can I get my hog in this movie? Yeah, we know.
Oh my God.
But
I have a pet pig, actually. I was trying to think of how my character, who was not named Ted Glasscock, what was his name?
Jim.
Jim.
Jim Glasscock.
I was like, how can Jim show back up and be, well, I don't want to say too much, just be around a lot in another movie? I need to figure that out. But I like to.
Plot twist. He's a cruise director.
I like to play around with sequel ideas, even if they never happen. It's just fun, and so I've definitely thrown out ideas like that with whole storylines that make me smile because I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll stop there.
You were an indie film, and I actually have a number of friends that are involved in it, or indie filmmakers, or involved with them in one way or another. And there was something about your film being an indie film. And Casey, this is really all you. There was so much more character development in it. Usually a lot of indie films, not anything negative to that, are kind of more based on action and things. But if you did have a bigger budget, is there anything you would have done differently?
Just before you guys answer that, don't think I'm storming off. I got to go check on the kids. I'll be back.
Tell them we said hi. I might have liked to have given some more of a physical signifier to the people who were possessed. And also a way to signify that they weren't anymore. Only because I think that there may have been some confusion with some viewers that those people are now dead. And not to be too spoilery, but like I think most of the possessed people survived. Let's see. I mean, not a ton, only because of the constraints of filming in the vehicle. Like, you know, there's always a part of you that wants the big, like, sweeping crane shots and cool tracking things, but there wasn't necessarily space for it in this specific movie. So really, yeah, I think I would say maybe a few more effects. I guess if we could have like actually splintered a car window. I guess if we could have like actually splintered a car window here and there.
Wow, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, what just happened?
Rich is doing some dark
You two
magic.
switched bodies. One of you possessed the other. I'm not sure who.
That's very appropriate. Well, it's interesting too because you think of all the possibilities of what you can do in a vehicle if it's a film where you're stuck in a vehicle, and like there's some other things you can do that are more extreme, like a car chase or crashes or things like that. And some things you could even. Like I debated, should we try to include this or that? Because we might smash out a window because there's just a lot of energy in that, and we can find a way to do it safely and fakely for a little money. But even if we did that, the rest of the movie still takes place in this car. And like if you smash the windows out and there's another 30 minutes left, well, they're going to be driving down the road. So technically the wind will be whipping in and ruining audio and that wouldn't make any sense. So it's kind of a weird catch-22 on some different elements that you could do. So
and I guess it was cold too, so that would have been a downside.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
Rich, what are you drinking?
A sparkling water called Soleil.
Did we ever tell
Had the cucumber melon flavor.
Cucumber melon. Okay, so
Yeah.
I have a question. You with the soda, the cucumber melon. I actually have oils that are cucumber melon that I love. So speaking of oils, was the car really smelling like those essential oils the whole time? That had to be, it would be pretty overpowering.
Yeah, it was just water and one that secretly had jalapeno juice in it. So it would be like roulette and we would all suffer if I got it wrong.
Luckily, you never did.
No, it did not.
But that was one of those, see, anybody who hasn't seen it, you got to go see it because that was funny. That was just one of those little things in there that gave it so much character. And Roger's reaction to that was just hilarious.
Yeah, it was a funny runner. It was a well thought out and well executed idea by these guys.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a nice outtake where Casey accidentally sprays herself in the face during one
I
take.
think I remember that.
And Rich was in his zone. He just kept going, and you were anyway. Get the DVD. It's fine.
I was kind of thinking that my twofold question. First, of you two, if you've thought about anything and what, and second, Rich, if there was a storyline that you'd like to see these two bring to life, would you have any idea of what that would be?
No storyline? No, I'll leave that to them. They're the creative duo.
To answer on our end, we may or may not be working on something right now, and then we also have a little mockumentary ghost hunting series on Amazon called
Paranormal.
which we were supposed to film some more episodes.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic got us. So right now there's 4 up. Feel free to watch. They're fun.
I need you guys to come check a place out.
Where is it?
My church. For sake. You're going to be such a great example for the kids.
Let me look through your camera roll.
Oh, no, camera roll. We're gonna roll past that, and I'm gonna delete some of these.
And we would love to work with Rich again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Waiting on
I
him.
would love to see Rich work with you again too, because it was so awesome.
it would be fun to do something else. We had a good time.
No, I
Maybe in
like
the
that a lot.
fall this time.
Yeah. A spring pick.
All takes place around Easter.
Rich, when are you gonna make another? And you may not want to, and that's cool. Or are you gonna make any desire to make a film, like your own independent one-off film of some sort? I know you direct TV shows a lot. And it's different.
I do direct TV shows a lot. You done with class, buddy? Okay. I'm just doing this interview. I'll be done in a few minutes. Okay. Frank, 3rd grade, is out. What?
Hey,
Hey,
Frank.
Frank.
Can I do that song?
Not right now. Play outside for a few minutes, and then I'll be done in a few, and we can do that. Okay.
If he would
To
want to
answer
sing
your
a song,
question-
I wouldn't have any trouble with that if you wanted him to sing a song for us.
No, he wasn't asking to sing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I'm working on, Glenn, that I might go direct. I don't know. It's been like you, this whole COVID, like all of us, the COVID thing has thrown a lot of curveballs. I'm still slated to go do another Lucifer as a director. So I'm going to go do that in October. And then barring that, I don't know. I mean, the working on a couple of ideas, and yes, I would direct something. I don't think I would direct another short. I enjoyed the short film experience, but Frank, what are you doing?
He's like Mrs. Malone in Stag
I know,
Raffle.
suddenly
Yeah, he
like,
is,
popping up
Mrs. Malone.
in my head like I'm sci-fi. Don't do that over there. I mean, it's mildly distracting. I know. What do you want? I can move here. You do that there. I'll move. Go over there, you goof. Oh, now you're leaving, right? So, what was I about? Oh yeah. So I don't know, man. Like
You don't want to do another
I don't know
short.
what, and I'm not sure when.
Yeah.
Now, I actually love the short film format, but you kind of like, to find a bigger audience, you need the bigger movie. So,
Yeah,
I think if I sink that much, like you guys did, I think if I'm going to sink that level of energy and effort into it, it'll be on a bigger project.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool.
So Glenn, Casey, since Rich pretty much answered, what's next for you guys?
More episodes of Stag Wrestle.
Yeah, more episodes of Stag Wrestle until somebody gives us piles of money and says, cool, let's make more of those. Yeah, in a writing phase on a new thing, kind of doing research. And we're
I've been getting
around.
a lot of script doctoring gigs over the past few months.
Which is such an interesting thing to do because I've
It is. I've actually enjoyed it a lot. I think it helps me examine my own writing more critically. And it's finding that balance between what I would want to see on screen versus what someone else is actually trying to write, and things like that. So yeah, that's been interesting.
Right.
And yeah, it's mostly writing right now.
We normally do improv all the time, but that's just not something we can
We
really
do online occasionally, but it's definitely not the same.
Yeah.
Casey, there was I was wondering when I was watching it for the second or third time, do you have experience with being stand-up? How much of you was in the character of Emerson with that?
Stand-up is probably how I got started in comedy, but it's definitely not my it's not where I choose to focus typically. If you do stand-up comedy and it goes well, it is the highest high you will ever experience. But if it bombs, it is the worst feeling in the world. It feels like such a complete rejection of you, because it's not, it's not someone else's writing, or it's not, they thought it was funny, but they didn't like your delivery or something like that. It's like, no, this was you top to bottom. And if they didn't like it, then that's not on anyone else.
Yeah.
I do it every now and then because I just think it's a good idea to kind of keep those muscles in shape, but it's not something that I seek out. I'm definitely more into the sketch and improv side of things. Emerson and I think she's overall just a better person than I am. She's a little more resilient. She's definitely a harder worker. I can delve into laziness pretty easily. We have some similar interests, but I would actually say our personalities are fairly different.
Fair enough.
I was going to say, before I forget, if that's okay, today, and it may be different, it'll be different than when this airs probably, but is our 1-year anniversary of showing Driven in London at Fright Fest.
Oh, very cool.
Which was a pretty stellar trip and experience.
Oh man,
love those guys over there. Horror fans probably know about Fright Fest, but
yeah,
it's pretty great to be there. Look, I really want to go back, do it again.
Yeah, same.
Well, if you guys end up going back, I run a Facebook group that's about horror conventions and events, so I'll post about you being there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
sweet.
So, last question that I really have that came to my mind, just all three of you, do you have any inspirations that kind of had you want to get involved in doing what you do?
I'll go first. For me, like, I mean, you see so much stuff that you love that you could mention. So I'll skip around that and just say, especially now, as weird as life is, how much you can get out of something you enjoy. I mean, specifically for me, comedies right now, or comedy horror even as well. But that feeling of a fun adventure, something, when you watch it, by the end of it, you feel better than you did before, whether it's just an escape or whether you just get to laugh with these characters that you like, or whatever the scenario is. That feeling and that ability to do that for other people I think is pretty extraordinary. And that's something that drives, especially right now for me, it drives the work that I put into it. I mean, I kind of have to create. I can't not do that anyway. But on top of that, for me, that's a big inspiration to keep doing this, to get into it, and so on and so forth.
Just for my own clarification, did you mean projects that have inspired us, or people, or some combination thereof, or
Anything that kind of inspired you to do so? It could be whatever your little heart
Gotcha.
desires.
Gotcha. I would say that I've always really, really loved performing, and I think it was brought into a sharp focus as something that I wanted to do when I saw my first live professional play when I was younger. As far as people that inspire me, big fan of Mindy Kaling. I feel like I mean, and you know, the Tina Feys as well. I think about them a lot because like I am not what comes to mind when people say the phrase like movie actress. It's not necessarily what people seek out when they are casting their own things. And so I have a lot of admiration for people, especially other women, who create their own roles and stories to act in, because at that point you are not at the mercy of whatever someone else thinks of when they think of a survivor, a love interest, a martyr, whatever it happens to be. You're in control of that. And I have a lot of admiration for anyone who takes the reins and the initiative and doesn't wait for someone else to tell them, yes, you can do this.
As far as what inspired me, is this what inspired me to get in the industry to start with? You know, honestly, I was just such a massive movie and theater buff as a kid. Love seeing, you know, my parents take me to see a lot of plays. I just loved watching actors do their thing live, which I think is, you know, not unlike what Casey said about stand-up comedy, although it's not, you're not alone and you're doing somebody else's words oftentimes, but still there's something very raw about seeing theater, about seeing people do something exciting like that in real time, right in front of you, and it's different every night. And that just as a kid made me want to do theater. So I started doing theater, and that sort of exhilaration you get from doing that on stage. And I was always a film buff, so it was a logical fascination shift from theater to film, because I love the whole process. I love how it's made, from the acting standpoint to what everybody's doing on set that I don't really know what they're doing. When I was a young man going, I don't know what that guy's doing, but that's dope. And to the directing, to the writing, to the stuff we do know what they're doing, the visual effects, the editing, it's all just, to me, a fascinating process, because it takes a village to make anything interesting, and to make anything successful, it takes a lot of people. It's a team sport, and I like team sports, and so it's a perfect intersection of art and sport to me, and I dig it. And so that's just always been something I wanted to do. I don't think there's one thing that inspired me. It's just as a whole, the craft of it just fascinated me.
Well, Rich, you've also been a little bit of everything too. You've got your hand in acting and producing and writing, and you're a musician. So it seems as though, yeah, kind of being able to carry all that out and do all of that well is, thank you.
Well, thank you that you're kind to say that. And I just, I just find it all so fascinating, and I find so many people so good that it's easy to aspire to the accomplishments and skills of others. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in an inspiring way. I think it's I'm lucky to know talented people. I'm lucky to know cool people who have stayed cool even with success under their belt. And I draw a lot of joy in seeing hard work pay off for folks, and this project's no different. Like, they busted their hump, and the film's really good, and that's because they knew what they were doing and stayed true to their aim, and were able to accomplish what they set set out to accomplish. So, you know, I just find the whole process in on any level really, really great, and I feel lucky to be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. And, you know, especially in this world being a little bit crazy and sometimes more than a little bit dark. Thank you for bringing some smiles into it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you in the movies.
All right. Stay safe.
Ciao.
Thanks.